My name is Keshwani. There's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for the GMAT. We have been solving GMAT math problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, the 13th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase me immediately. You're going to need it. This book contains 230 problem-solving questions. It has 174 data sufficiency questions. We have already solved every single math problem from the book. If you're interested in watching any one of the original solutions to the problems, you will find the original solutions from day number 1 through 250. Right now we are in the middle of redoing the problem and we are on page number 160. Let's take a look at it. Very first problem on the page, number 58. We are told that we have 10 ounces of water. We are further told that out of the 10 ounces, 0.01 ounce evaporated every day, and it had been going on for 20 days. 0.01 ounce evaporates every day for 20 days. Question is, what percentage of the water has evaporated? Let's find out, shall we? So it's 0.01. It's 0.01 ounce for 10 days. 0.01 times 10 is 0.1. But 0.01 times 10 would have been 10. 0.01 times 10 would have been 0.1. But we do not have 10 days, we have 20 days. So multiply that by 2 and we find out that 0.2 ounce has evaporated. The question now is, 0.2 is what percent of what we started out with, 10 ounces. Well, listen, it's very simple, very straightforward, nothing to do here at all. 0.2 is what percent of 10. If you were to multiply both of these quantities by 10, this is 10 right now. If you were to multiply this quantity by 10, and you multiply this quantity by 10, 10 times 10 of course is 100 ounces. 100 ounces, and 0.2 times 10 is just 2. So the question now is, 2 is what percent? 2 is what percent of 100? That becomes very silly. 2 is what percent of 100? Of course it's 2%. The answer is 2%. The answer is 2%. 2% of the water. 2% of the water has evaporated. The answer is D. The answer is D. Let's move on then. Next one, number 59. Number 59. In number 59 we are told that we have 15 grams of glucose, 15 grams of glucose per 100 cubic centimeter of solution. The question is, how much G in 45 cubic centimeter? How much G in 45 cubic centimeter? Let's first look at the answer choices, because the answer choices here three, 5, 5.5, 6.5, and 6 3/4. Because the answer choices here are of such a nature that some of them are just insane. It doesn't happen very often, but once in a while they present you with answer choices where 2 or 3 answer choices, and in some cases as many as 4, are pure insanity. They are just silly, they are idiotic, they are maniacal answer choices. They make no sense. For example here, I'm going to show you, for example here, we know it's 15 grams out of 100. Well, if it's 15 out of 100, that tells us that it must be 7.5 out of 50. Out of 50, 7.5. Since we have 45 here, correct answer, whatever it is, the correct answer, whatever it is, tells us that the correct answer, whatever it is going to be just under 7.5. It's going to be a little less than 7.5. It is not going to be 3, 5, or 5.5. The answer is going to be either D or E. A, B, and C are insane. And my gut feeling tells me that it's going to be 6 3/4, because just because we go from 50 to 45, that's not going to make a drop of 1 whole gram of glucose. It drops from 7.5 to 6.5. That's too large of a drop. My gut feeling is that the correct answer, whatever it is the one that comes closest to 7 and 7.5. The one that comes closest to 7.5 is 6 3/4 rather. Let's find out. set it up as a proportion problem. It's not a big deal. It only takes a few seconds. So here we have a gram, here we have the cubic centimeter, and we are told that we have 15 gram out of 100 cubic centimeter. And the question is, how many grams in a 45? Let's find out, shall we? Cross multiply both sides by 45, and we find that x is equal to 15 times 45 over 100. 15 times 45 over 100. Let's divide top and bottom by 5. If we divide top and bottom by 5, this becomes 20, that becomes 3. Let's divide top and bottom by 5 one more time. So that becomes 4, and this becomes 9. So we end up with 3 times 9. 3 times 9 is 27. We end up with 27 over 4 as our final answer. 27 over 4. We know 6 fours are 24. 6 fours are 24, which means if you were to divide 27 by 4, 6 fours are 24. But we have 27. We do not have 24. We have 27, which means we have a remainder of 3. Remainder of 3, and it is being divided by what? It's being divided by 4. There you go. The answer is 6 3/4. The answer is E. Let's go to the next one, shall we? Number 60. Number 60. Number 60 says that we have a solution that is made with equal amount of water and juice. We are making lemonade. If you read the question carefully, we are making a lemonade. I always insist that you have the book in front of you. Even though I write the problems on the blackboard, it helps sometimes to have the book in front of you so that you can understand the problem better, because I do not put down everything on the blackboard, obviously. We just put down the gist of the problem, the nub of the problem. We just put down the nub of the problem. I do not put down the entire problem verbatim. Do you understand? Next day we are told the same amount of juice was used, but twice the amount of water. So we are making lemonade. On the first day, our lemonade was of such a nature that it was 50-50. Half of it was lemon juice, the other half was water. 50-50 was the first day that we made. Second day, we decided to dilute our lemonade. We are still using the same amount of juice as before. We are still using the same amount of juice as yesterday, but we are using twice as much water. The fact that we are using twice as much water for the same amount of juice, we are diluting the bloody thing, obviously. And we are told that everything that we made was sold. All was sold. In other words, on neither of these 2 days we had anything left over at the end. We are selling the lemonade, you understand? Another thing that we are told is that we have the same revenue for both days. Now that is the most crucial stuff. This is the most important information in the entire problem. The revenue is the same. We are told that the price on the first day was 60 cents. On the first day we charged 60 cents. The question is, what was the price that we charged on the second day? That's all it is. That's all it is. It's quite simple, quite straightforward, because of the fact that they tell us the same revenue was earned on both days, and the fact that all was sold. Well, in that case, the revenue on the first day must have been the amount of price that we charge per unit times the quantity that we sold. That's how we find the revenue. Price times quantity. Price times quantity. How much quantity? What quantity? Well, how many units did we sell on the first day? Think of this thing in terms of units. It doesn't have to be glass. It doesn't have to be whatever the hell they tell you. Just make it very generic. How many units were sold? Well, let's find out, shall we? Let's find out. How many units did we make on the first day? It's right here. Same amount of water and juice on the first day. So here's our juice, here's our water, and here's the first day. On the first day we had 50-50. On the first day we had 50-50. Well, if it's 50-50, then we have 50 units of juice mixed with 50 units of water, which means the total amount of units that we sold was 100. We sold 100 units, 100 glasses, whatever you want to call it. And the price we are told was 60 cents. On the second day, we are told the revenue is same. Revenue did not change. The revenue on the second day is the same. And that has to equal to, I did not leave any room at all. I made it too crowded. So I'm going to write it here and then I'm going to erase it here. On the second day, what was the quantity that we sell on the second day? Well, on the second day, we are told that we are still using the same amount of juice. So if we use 50 glasses of juice on the first day, on the second day we are still using 50 glasses of juice. It's just that the amount of water that we are using is twice as much, which means we have 100 units of water. We have 100 units of water for a total of 150 units. On the second day we sold 150 units. P2 times Q2, P2, I'm going to have to erase it because if I keep squeezing it, or perhaps we can start from here so I don't have to erase that part. So, P1 times Q1 has to equal P2 times Q2. P1 we are told is 60. Q1 we know is 100. 50 plus 50 is 100. P2 is the unknown quantity and Q2 is 50 plus 100 is 150. That's it, we are done. We just have to solve for x. It's very simple. X equals to 60 times 100 over 150. Divide top and bottom by 50. If we divide top and by 50, 100 will become 2 and 150 will become 3. We have a 60 and we have a 3 here. Let's divide top and bottom by 3. If we divide top and bottom by 3, we end up with 20 times 2. 20 times 2 is 40. On the second day, we must have charged 40 cents per glass because we are told that we sold 150 glass on the second day. 150 times 40 glass is the exact same amount of money that we earned on the first day, which is 100 glasses for 60 cents. That's all. Let's move on to the same. Let's move on to the next one, number 61. Give me 1 second. I need a break. Next one. Number 61. They're looking for the slope of a line with the equation 3x plus 7y equals 9. 3x plus 7y equals 9. Now listen, if you are one of those people who had not had geometry for a long time, it's been many moons since you had your elementary geometry, and if you have forgotten most of the elementary concepts in geometry, then it is important, it is vital, it is crucial, it is imperative that you brush up on the basic elementary concepts of geometry before you sit for the exam, because they do ask you every once in a while concept on basic geometry. Here is one of them. In order to figure out the slope of a line, this equation has to be written first of all in what is known as the slope-intercept form. The slope-intercept form looks like this. Slope-intercept form it is called. The slope-intercept form of the equation looks like this. Y equals mx plus b, and this m part is your slope. We have to figure out the value of this m here, the slope, but in order for us to do that, before we can actually figure out the value of the slope, we have to first write the equation into this form. In other words, we have to get the y by itself. We have to get the y by itself, and that's all that is. Once we have gotten the y by itself, then whatever coefficient that appears attached to x, that's your slope. So here, let's get the y by itself. So that tells us the 7y equals, bring the 3x to the other side, we get negative 3x plus 9, divide both sides by 7, and y would equal negative 3/7 x plus 9 over 7. Well, there you go, negative 3 over x, negative 3 over 7, that's your slope right here. Your slope is negative 3 over 7. Let's go to the next one, shall we? I don't know why I had the urge to squeeze everything. Let's go to the next one, number 62. In number 62, we have a parallelogram. Again, a concept on a very basic elementary concept of geometry. A question on very basic, very elementary concept of geometry. You just have to know it, that's all. And if you don't know it, then you're done. But there is not much here to do. It's a parallelogram. We are told that this angle right here is 140 degrees. They're calling this parallelogram P, Q, are S, I believe, or perhaps I'm calling them. No, that's what they call them. This angle inside here, which we call, is 2y degree, and this is x degree. The question simply is, how much is y minus x? So we have to figure out the value of y, the value of x, and then take the difference. That's what it is. Well, x is very straightforward. This x degree is very straightforward. This x degree is same as this angle. And this angle that we see here, in the bottom here, because of the fact that the straight line makes 180 degrees, and the fact that the outside angle is 140, this inside angle must be 40. And that's your x. This is same as that angle. The opposite angle in the parallelograms have to be equal to each other. So x equals 40. Similarly, if this is 140, the outside part, if you have two parallel line, and if this is 140 degrees, this angle has to equal this angle. One more time, if you have two parallel lines, then this angle has to equal that angle. And that angle is what they're calling 2y. This angle is 2y, it has to equal 140. So 2y equals 140 degrees, which means y equals 70 degrees. 70 minus 40 is 30 degrees. The answer is 30 degrees, 70 minus 40. Let's move on to the very last question, which is the real simple, real insane question. The question is, how many kilometers in 2 miles? We are told that 1 kilometer equals 0.6 miles. Or rather, it does not equal 0.6 miles. It approximately equals 0.6 miles, we are told. This is problem number 63. The question is, 2 miles will make how many kilometers? Well, it's very simple, very straightforward, assuming that you did not know the conversion by heart. A lot of the people would actually simply know it and they'll be done in 2 seconds, but if you didn't know it, set it up as a proportion problem, kilometers and miles. If you knew it by heart, then you don't need this information to know how many kilometers in a mile. But if you didn't know it, you set it up as a proportion here. We know that 1 kilometer we are told is 0.6 miles. The question is, how many kilometers in 2 miles? That's it. And just solve for x. Multiply both sides by 2 and you find that x equals to 2 over 0.6. X equals to 2 over 0.6. Multiply top and bottom by 10. If you multiply top and bottom by 10, we end up with 20 over 6. 20 over 6. 20 over 6. If you reduce top and bottom, it becomes 10 over 3. X equals 10 over 3. 10 over 3. But of course, none of this was necessary if you happen to be one of those people who lives in both universe, outside the US and most part of the world. Is all metric system. And since once in a while I need to travel outside the country, and I come from an area where we use metric system, I knew by heart that 1.61 kilometer is 1 mile. And therefore 2 miles will be 3.2, approximately 3.2. And the only answer choice that comes closest to 3.2 is this answer, 10 over 3. That was the answer. I'll see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.